Mr. Eazi was on Twitter the other day
Exactly.
talking about giving fans equity in his music going forward. So what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's a twofold, right? Streaming is growing in Nigeria. It's not exactly dead in the water. A few days later, Mr. Eazi was on his Instagram like talking about how streaming, like 90%, over 90% of his digital revenue doesn't come from Nigeria. So it shows you that it doesn't come from Africa, where his largest fan base is. So it shows you that streaming is not exactly the biggest thing in Africa yet. It's going to keep growing. Like last year we saw there was an increase, some form of increase. In the thousands, it wasn't huge, but it was better. And then the entrance of Audiomack sort of changed everything, because Audiomack was offering people premium music for nothing. And the promise is that the idea is that they were going to pay creatives and artists throughout. But Mr. Eazi's plans now to offer artists stock or equity via his music, it feels more like a marketing ploy than a formidable business plan for his fans. Why do I say that? It's brilliant, it's well thought out because it's unique. For Mr. Eazi and his fans, it's going to be like, oh, let's create a plan where for fans they can say, oh, he's making money already. And make no mistake, Mr. Eazi has great numbers. Yeah. He has healthy numbers, fantastic numbers. And over the past 1 year, he's been collaborating with a lot of LatinX artists. And LatinX artists are numbers beasts. He's collaborating with J Balvin. Yeah. He's collaborating with Bad Bunny. Like last year, J Balvin was the most streamed artist on Deezer. Most streamed international artist on Deezer. Bad Bunny was number 4. J Balvin has been the most streamed international artist on Deezer for 3 years in a row. Getting 1 billion streams on YouTube videos is nothing for Latin artists. So Mr. Eazi has healthy numbers. His song, oh my God, he reached #1 on Apple Music US. He got to #1. So it's not exactly that he doesn't have numbers, but the numbers could always be better. And Mr. Eazi is more a businessman than an artist anyway. The way he thinks, he doesn't think like an artist. That's why he won a Latin Grammy last year, if anybody doesn't know that. Congratulations to him, by the way. His collaborations are not exactly like the average artist collaboration. But when it comes down to this idea of equity and streams, it doesn't necessarily make sense. Because at its best, it's overstated. At its worst, it's a pyramid scheme that's not exactly going to pay anybody. Look at it this way. How much is Mr. Eazi making from music streaming platforms? Who pays the most? Tidal. Tidal pays 0.01, I think. It's like 0.01. Apple Music and the rest, and Boomplay and everybody else, they pay 0.005, I think. Right? So what's Mr. Eazi going to offer his fans? How much is he going to offer them? So is he going to offer every fan that streams his music 0.001 per 0.05 per stream?
So he's going to give a certain percentage of
each stream to everybody. But the problem is to each stream that comes from you. So every fan, every time they stream, they get 0.00. But the question is, how many times do they have to stream his music for them to be able to make a substantial amount? That's the question. This is healthy
investment, you know. So
and the problem with that is that after the Justin Bieber debacle, when Justin Bieber released his last album and his fans were streaming excessively, Spotify sort of opened the door to a new policy where if you stream music in a way that's excessive, your streams are going to stop counting because then you are trying to spam the system. And just last week, Spotify had to throw away over 750,000 songs from DistroKid. They had to throw them out because they felt certain people were trying to game the system through DistroKid.
Okay, so they were just start padding basically.
Exactly. So now, an average fan would have to stream Mr. Eazi's music a lot of times to actually be able to make good money from it, and that's not reasonable. Like in a download market, from a download perspective, it would have made sense. Do you know why?
Why?
Because if you are going to pay money, say if you're paying 10 naira to download a song, you can say, oh, I'm going to give you X amount if you download it 3 times or 4 times. Like, it's not that you'll be still, it might still be spamming, but it's going to make a little more sense. But from a streaming perspective, how much is he making himself from his fans? How much is he making? Like, it's good from all indications, it's great. But this idea of equity via streams, like I said, it's not exactly the most reasonable. Like, except you are trying to create a pyramid scheme where if your fans bring other people, then they might be able to get more people. If they bring 3 people, then they can get this number of streams that those people stream. Then if these other people bring other people, that's the only way it's going to make sense. And the pyramid scheme itself is not exactly sustainable.
What about if maybe he had a limited number of slots? Do you think maybe that would be more profitable to the people who hold the stock? For
so you think like if you were to bring like, if you were to limit it to like 10,000 people?
Exactly.
I think the way this even makes sense is the more the merrier. So there shouldn't be a limit on it. If there's a cap on it, then it's not going to make any sense. The spam is going to be more obvious. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Like, so it's an idea that already the world is fighting against the fact that the amount recoupable per stream is too low. For example, it's not even paying songwriters enough. It's not paying producers enough. ASCAP has been at war with Spotify for a long time. Now it's making sense now because Spotify is trying to jack it up a little bit, because that's why you are seeing a lot of people selling their catalog. That's why you're seeing a lot of people selling their songwriting catalog, because it makes sense now. You can Hypnosis can make more money because if they buy a Jimmy Iovine production or songwriting catalog, it makes more sense now because they are going to increase it. So if you are saying you want to give your fans there, how much is songwriters going to make? Even if you are saying you are going to give them out of yours, the money is not enough. So at best, this favors Mr. Eazi alone and alone by himself. And that's facts only.